Hello everyone, welcome to another Monday movie. I'm Mr. Blue Summers. So this week, before I get started, I want to do a quick housekeeping bit. I went back into YouTube and I made all of the Monday movies that I've done so far public. So there's a pretty good chance that you're watching this in YouTube. If you are, awesome. If not, doubly awesome. Thank you for visiting my website, www.mrbluesummers.com. For those of you on YouTube, I do encourage you to do the same, to visit my website. Have a look. I've got all these videos archived, as well as some little notes there. I also have a lot of written tutorials that you might like, a lot about mental ray, a lot about modeling, as well as some items on scripting that you might also like. Again, that's www.mrbluesummers. Okay, that said, let's dive right into this. So this is part 2 of a 4-part modeling core video set. Last week we had part 1. We talked about primitives modeling. We talked about how you can still build realistic geometry, inorganic items using nothing but primitive objects. This week is part 2. We're talking about Booleans. We're going to have a look at how we can create machined parts using nothing but Boolean objects. Next week we're going to talk about spline objects and how you can use spline modeling to create semi-inorganic objects, a lot of free-form arbitrary geometry, even though it's still a little bit procedural. And then finally, week 4, the week after that, we're going to talk about polygon modeling, cutting, extruding, modifiers, everything custom, so it's going to be awesome. That said, the reason that Booleans lend themselves so well to machine parts, and I'm going to bring up the one that this is going to be in a minute, the reason that Booleans work for machine parts so well is because the operations of addition and subtraction and union and intersection work so well at mimicking the same processes that go into manufacturing parts like this, where we can start off with a block of metal and we can use a lathe to cut out the sides, make it round. We can use a simple cut operation to make this front plate. We can then dig out some of the metal right here around the sides in a smooth way, and that kind of thing. So these processes are rather predictable, and when we can manufacture the object that we want in 3D using the same principles as would be applied to build it in real life, that's when we see realism. That's when we see things really becoming what we want them to. So after this must be like 10 takes of trying to videotape myself doing this under the 10-minute time limit at YouTube, I said forget it, I'm just going to build it and show you the core concepts at the very end. So that's what I've done here. I have all of the primitive objects here as you would set them up in order to build this. But I'm not going to go through piece by piece because I just don't have the time. I've got 2 cone objects as well as a cylinder object here. That's going to form the drill holes going around. I use the 2 cones because that gives me an artificial bevel along the outside. It's totally optional. You don't have to do that. You could just use a cylinder. This torus object right here is going to form that smooth carving out of that. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's smooth and it's there, and that's what it's going to do. This cylinder here is going to help control this inner plate. Rather than making this section flush with this intersection, we're going to use this cylinder to control that. And then finally, I did something very similar to the drill holes inside, and it's going to form that beveled, drilled out center. So this is going to be part of a larger machine. So let's get to it. How you stack up these Boolean objects is going to determine how they look. And so what makes Boolean sort of bigger and better than just using primitives is that you kind of have to think ahead and think to yourself, what's this going to look like at the end? At the end of the day. So I'm going to take my cylinder and I've added in the beveling, the cones that are going to give me that beveled look. And now I'm going to take this new subtractive object. I'm going to align the center pivot to the middle of my plate thing. And then I'm going to replicate it 8 times. Yeah, cool. 8 times. 360-degree z-axis rotation. I'm going to preview it. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. And now I'm going to take this base plate and make it a pro-Boolean object as well. And let me say this about that. Do I have enough time? Sort of. Okay. Let me say this about that. Never use the original Boolean object. Never, ever, under any circumstances. Wait. Yeah, no, not under any circumstances should you actually use the original Boolean. It'll wreck your topology, it'll wreck your mesh structure, it'll wreck everything, and it even causes problems later on down the line, even if you can't see them right off the bat. Pro Boolean is just plain better. It's only there just for like legacy reasons. So, without going too much more into that, I've used start picking, subtraction, and I picked each one of those. So now I have my 8 drilled out sections of this plate. The next thing I'm going to want to do is build my don't want to do that. Is build my greater subtractive object through the middle here, which is going to be a combination of this cylinder and the torus. So I'm going to take the torus, I'm going to make it a pro Boolean object. It's going to be on union, and I'm going to click on that other cylinder because I want a union between the cylinder and the torus, and I'll show you why in just a second. So finally, I'm going to take that, okay, and I'm going to take my original plate, I'm going to choose subtraction, and I'm going to click on start picking, and I'm going to pick that center item. And so now we can see what we wanted, that this plate, this middle, is shorter than the outside. Perfect. Perfect, just what we wanted. So this section here looks like it's just a little bit high. I'm going to take my other cone, I'm going to move it down right there just so it's resting right on top. And I'm going to add that. So I'm going to click on union of my original plate, start picking, click on that cone. So now we have that kind of raised section, which is going to be this part right here, that raised section. And then the final step is going to be to take this these middle parts. I'm going to have to scale them a little bit, but shouldn't be too bad. This guy needs to get just a little bit taller. Okay, okay. Move this down right there. So it's going to form that bevel that I was talking about. Cool. And now I'm going to do the same thing that I did with the bolt holes out here. I'm going to turn this into a compound object, union, and I'm going to add in my beveling, just like that. And then one final subtraction operation of that center. And there you have it. So that's how these items can come together to form these elaborate machined parts using nothing but Booleans, where you think ahead and you say, okay, I need this plus this, but not this. I need this complicated shape that's built up of these simpler shapes. And you'll also notice another key distinction is that I didn't just use primitives for the addition and subtraction operations. I said, okay, this middle section needs to be a subtraction operation of another Boolean operation. So I'm layering them together in these beautiful and elegant ways. And you can form these incredible trees of primitive objects. But I digress. Sorry, just the elegance of it all it catches up with me. So, until next week, I encourage you to play around with Booleans, see what they can do for you. As with last week, we worked with primitives. This week, we worked with Booleans. So this is a natural extension of last week's lesson. Take this to heart. Try it out. I'll see you next week for another Monday Movie. We're going to talk about part 3 of the modeling core using splines. So until then, happy modeling. Take care.